Women's JV Heavyweight 8 Final. Keith Russell, your host, joined by Ferdinand Bergen, a proud graduate of Temple in 2001, and Renee Heichel, a proud graduate of St. Joe's in 2001. Renee, what do you see here at the start?
Well, it's a blistering start from these crews. It's always an adjustment going from a pair race to an 8 race. These crews look like trains coming out of that starting block. Everybody's looking clean. It seems like the wind is calmed at the top of the river, and we've got a race on our hands.
The Dayton Flyers coming off the line at 47 strokes a minute. That is quite high. It's quite high actually for men's 8s or women's 8s. So looking very, very sharp. You can see as we look across, they have about the deck, which is about 9 feet, and the seat, which is about, in that first seat, which is about 3 feet. So for the first 40 strokes or so, to have a 12-foot advantage, it must be tough going.
Yes, and in lane 2, we have the St. Joe's Hawks. The Hawks are looking to win this event again. They won it in 2010. Jackie Pistorino, who is a senior graduating from St. Joseph's this year, she's looking to win this event again. She won it 2 years ago, and this is her last race here today.
And as they say, the Hawk will never die.
Drexel with a big push on the outside, but also Bucknell, who has 14 seniors this year. It's their largest senior class ever. Bucknell with the, they've got the black boat right in the center of the screen, orange tops and blue tights on the bottom there. White blades.
Bucknell, the alma mater of Villanova head basketball coach Jay Wright. I would say the guy dresses pretty well. Very stylish. Always has the nice suit.
Well, it's a good education as well. So at Bucknell, so you should know these types of things, where to shop and how to dress. But on the outside, the Drexel Dragons really making a big push here. Holy mackerel!
Drexel, 38 strokes a minute, Renee.
Yeah, they are pushing it, and it is brave out there in lane 6. Lane 6 actually has the least amount of turning to do coming through the bridge, so they're probably looking to capitalize on a little advantage as they come through there, as the rest of the crews take a big push. Whenever we would do practice racing out here, whoever was out in lane 6, we always used to say took a bit of a shortcut coming through here, doing pieces. Wow, they are at 38 strokes. It appears that Drexel has put their sprint in the middle of their race. In the top of the second 500 of their race, Drexel has decided to go to 38 strokes a minute, and we will see how that plays out for them as this race develops.
And right now, we have a young lady off to my right, off stage, just holding up a Drexel sweatshirt. The Dragons, rightfully proud, Ferdinand, as we look at this race.
So as we mentioned earlier on, this is the final, so they went through the heats and semifinals, and typically the quote-unquote faster crews get the inside lanes, the 3 and 4, 2, 3, and 4 lanes. But Drexel in lane 6.
And look at their lead.
Absolutely punishing the rest of the competition. The Boilermakers last year actually won from lane 1, the women's varsity 8. And which is not typical as well. Again, those higher seeded lanes, 2, 3, and 4. But Drexel maybe hiding some of their speed earlier in the preliminary races, and just looking at the class of the field at the moment.
Drexel has only dropped down to 37 strokes a minute. What does that tell you, Renee?
I think they are confident. This is what this sport is all about. I mean, nobody would think to row a 37 in the second 500 of a race in the middle 1,000. But Drexel is putting it all out there. I mean, they've probably got seniors in the boat. They want to win today, and they're going for it. They are taking all the risks, holding back nothing, going at a sprint pace in the middle of the race here.
At some point, Ferdinand, you talked about race strategy. Is this possibly a point where adrenaline just takes over the entire team?
The whole race is adrenaline. With the exception of those moments of clarity as you're coming into those last 30, 40 strokes, when you can hear the crowd yelling for you, when you can hear your family yelling for you, the whole thing is adrenaline. You don't look back at your maximum heart rate and say, well, the 45th stroke was good, but the 46th one wasn't. It's just all a blur, and especially at 37, 38 strokes a minute. Just really, really challenging the rest of the competition. Can you keep up with us?
Second place, third place, fourth place, we are getting tight as they jockey for those positions. Drexel continues to be strong. Drexel won the women's novice heavyweight 8. Drexel leading the women's JV heavyweight 8.
And yes, we have Bucknell moving into second place here, trying to challenge Drexel. Bucknell is going to be pushing back, trying to see if Drexel hasn't spent too much. They're looking like they're swinging strong. This is going to be a very exciting finish as we see Bucknell cutting into their lead and St. Joe's in third. This is a hunt for the medals here. Bucknell is swinging very well, looking very poised. If they can kick up the rate a little bit, they can definitely cut into Drexel. They are taking away huge seats each move.
And Ferdinand, earlier in our telecast, you talked about where the coxswain sits in relation to the boat. And in some of the fords, the coxswain is nearest to the finish line. In this case, the coxswain is furthest away from the finish line. What's the advantage?
Well, it's really just water displacement. The advantage on an 8 is that you can in a 4, because you're so far forward, you can't see your competition unless they're beating you. But in an 8, you can see all the moves. Now, Drexel may have done too much earlier on, and Bucknell really pulling into their lead. Has Drexel dug themselves into a physical hole they can't come out of? Bucknell really challenging. It looked to be open water earlier on at the 700 meters in, and now
look at that stroke rate. Look at the stroke rate comparison.
3 or 4 seats between Drexel still winning.
Drexel is going to 40 strokes a minute.
But will they be spinning wheels? I mean, do they have any mechanical advantage on the blade at that high stroke rating?
The Bison are charging, Renee.
They are charging.
Bison are charging.
They are charging. If they can raise it a few more beats, they may be able to pick off Drexel. But as they come through, they are bow astern. It is going to be close.
The Bison are really charging.
And St. Joe's is fighting for third. It looks like St. Joe's is securely in third. We've got them charging back on Drexel. Can Drexel hold on? Will they make it to the finish line?
Now watch the inside of the screen here. It appears that they're moving a lot faster. Oh,
it's going to be a photo finish. Oh!
Drexel
is raising their hands.
It appeared Drexel only by about a foot and a half over Bucknell.
And they got it. Drexel.
The women's JV heavyweight 8. No doubt the closest finish today, Renee.
And it is just so exciting to see that. I mean, they took a huge risk going to 37 strokes a minute as they came through the second 500 of the race. That is almost unheard of in rowing. For them to make that move and for them to hold on through the rest of the race, they were feeling so much pain through the second half of that race. They buried themselves early on and they held on. They must have trained so hard to be able to execute that race plan.
Stroke seat lane down there, right, just absolutely gassed, nothing left, no energy left, just laying down, not even the energy to keep your own body weight up. We can see 4 seat as well.
Oh, look at
3 seat.
Look at that young lady. Look at that young lady.
But Keith.
Yes.
She earned it.
She did earn it.
4/10 of a second victory. 4/10 of a second. So that's about 3 feet. About 3 feet. Imagine a 1.25-mile race to be decided by 3 feet.
Our closest finish so far today, the Drexel women win the JV heavyweight 8. Welcome to our live streaming coverage on ESPN3 and follow us on a link on 6abc.com. Ferdinand Bergen, graduate of Temple in 2001. Renee Heichel rode in the Olympics in Beijing in 2008, and that was our closest finish of the day.
That was an amazing race to watch, Keith. I feel like I have goosebumps all over me watching that race. I mean, for the Dragons to come out hard like that and put out a big push in the second 500, I mean, you know, every rower knows that they were in tremendous pain through the rest of the race, that they were training all year, pushing their threshold, pushing to be able to execute that plan. Most of these other crews out here wouldn't even be able to physically do that. They would die out as the race went on. For the Dragons to